Well, hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday. We thank you for coming and spending some of your Tuesday evening with us. I'm sure you have plenty of things that you could have been doing, but you rather spend your Tuesday evening with the Ultimate Wellness Group talking about this plague that we're dealing with now, the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever we want to call it. But we thank you again for coming in this evening. We're going to get very specific into this disease, what we can do, how we should wrap our minds around this idea so that we can make it through this situation better on the other side. And we won't allow ourselves to get bogged down with the deceptive intelligence as well as the negative ideology that's out here that is wearing us down. So you all please stay tuned and let's have a wonderful show. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I further bear witness that God came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, taught one from among us, that being the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who wrote this book, among others, that has given us a beautiful and strong platform. My platform being How to Eat to Live, the book 1 and book 2 series of How to Eat to Live. That is the foundation of everything that you will hear on this show. And the two of them did not leave us alone, but left us somebody who gave us a criterion, the foundation, the discrimination to be able to decipher through times of this nature that we are going through and allow us to come through with a positive spirit, with a strong countenance, being girded for this fight, for this war, for this battle, for us to become free as a people and two free people of the earth. And so I thank all of you for coming. And in their names, I greet you in the words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, that just means peace be unto you. We pray for your peace. And I also said all of that because I'm asking God to remove my arrogance, to remove my ego, and to make me a vessel for your benefit tonight. Tonight is going to be probably, I would say, maybe my most controversial show, but at the same time, probably my most powerful show. And the show that I will never apologize for because I believe I'm telling the absolute truth. And also a show that I believe I will stand on the foundation that I've been given by those three men in a way that I believe after this show, people should understand that when you're looking for health information, there is no place that you can go better than this one. You'll have to make that determination, but that's the determination that I pray to the God that we serve, that I represent, and I represent it in a way that's satisfactory to Master Father Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, because that's who matters most. When a man stands on the word of God and he believes his truth, and then he tries to present his body of work or his testimony to be a testimony of theirs. So I thank you all. Let's give a few shout outs and I'm going to get directly into the show. You all let me know if you can hear me well. I don't want any of this to be misunderstood or missed. Okay. So I know my brother Tyrone Muhammad, who I thank so much having my back the other day. Thank you, my brother Sadie Morena Ali. Both of them were here very early. D Kiki, Cheryl X Harris, Daisy Muhammad, Darlene Paisley, Deborah Muhammad, James Williams, April Muhammad, Carlos Hodges, Khalila Muhammad, April. I said you already. Carlos Hodges, Michelle X. Die Young, Eighth Electronics, Gerald X. What's going on, my brother? Anissa Muhammad. Some of the steady, true, down to the earth soldiers. We're about to get into it. Seti says, we ride in judgment out in our ill. Yeah, the world has ended and new world begins. That's exactly where I'm going with this tonight. So without anything further from me, I'm going to get started. We are going to listen to a little bit of the criterion so that you all who are here for your first time or have never heard this before, you can see where I am going to start this whole program off and where, oh my goodness. where we will set the stage for the rest of this show, okay? So let me do it like this. Y'all have a little patience with me. I'm trying to figure this out, okay? Here we go. All right. Let me know if you can hear it, okay?
I bear witness that there is no God but He. And I bear witness that He visited North America in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi, that the Muslim world has been expecting, and the long-awaited Messiah that the Christians and the Jews were expecting. I thank Allah for His intervention in our affairs and giving to us from our own midst a man that He could deposit wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so great and so powerful that it would produce what is referred to in the scriptures of the Bible and Holy Quran as the resurrection of the dead. My teacher told me one day that if there were any symbol that he could use to represent his work, it would be a trumpet. He made me his trumpet. God made me his mouthpiece. And so today, in the garden, inshallah, I will deliver to you a message, not from beneath, but a message from on high. I thank Allah for my teacher. I greet all of you with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so I started there because I want to make something very clear today for those who hear me for the first time or may have heard me for 1,000 times. I, as your brother, as a physician who has practiced medicine for 25 years, had to put things in the proper perspective when I read this book. I had been practicing medicine for 7 years. So we're talking about after college, after medical school, and then residency program. From the time I graduated from medical school until the time I started reading this book was 7 years that I had studied under physicians, had mentors, and read and studied and tried to be the best physician that I could be. And then I picked up this book, and in the first 35 pages, I was inundated with an idea that I had never heard before. And you talk about a slap of reality. You're talking about a man who became angry. I'm talking about me. I became angry instantly because I owed hundreds of thousands of dollars for going to school. I didn't have any loans in college, but I had loans in medical school that by the time I finished and started my personal practice, I was into the hundreds of thousands of dollars of money that I owe. And then I read a book, a 2-part series, and both of the books together cost me $10. And in the first 35 pages, I got the type of information that always was the reason I wanted to be a physician, to be able to help people, to be able to help them heal, to be able to be a part of their life and see them go in a different direction, not taking medications for the rest of their lives and dying with those same problems. So I'm here to say to all of my colleagues, whether you know me personally or not, I'm talking to all the physicians, you know this system is broken. You know that there's nothing to giving a person a pill for the rest of their life and they still die with the same problem. You haven't stopped to evaluate that yet and realize that we were caught up in a system that was never meant for the best of us. And so whether you take it or not, I could care less. I know I'm happy. I know I'm at peace. Because when people come to me in 2020, I can look at them in the eye and I can know for a fact that I'm giving them information that's going to help them if they put it to work, if they dedicate themselves and they stay diligent and they sacrifice and do the things that I ask them to do. I know there's something better coming down the line. But it was never that way when I was prescribing, when I was sending to other people, when I was suggesting surgeries and things of that nature. And I will always say that I was never as bad as the typical physician. I'm never going to put myself in that box. But there were some things I didn't know any better than. I was eager and willing, and I got sucked into the doggone plan. And so after all that, I'm also saying to everybody that's listening, first time or whether it's 1,000 times, if you continue to look to them for guidance, you are making a huge mistake. If you continue to look at CNN or these physicians that come on and these names and they got millions of followers, it don't make a difference. If they're still talking to you about taking this medication or this new study, they're caught up in something that can't help you. You got to go to God these days. That's why I started with the minister. He said that he's the mouth of God. I believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be starting in this way, because I believe this is the type of show where some people are going to say, oh, well, I don't want to follow him anymore. He should apologize. Not apologizing for anything that I'm going to say, because I'm 1,000% sure that I'm standing on a foundation that's going to prove itself as time comes. Leroya, thank you for coming in. You said time to learn. Yes. Aaron X Dunlap, thank you for coming in, my brother. Yvonne Greer, thank you all the way from Milwaukee. Janika Renee, thank you for coming in. Wa alaikum salam. What else? I missed a couple people. I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Tyrone Muhammad, can you turn it up some? Hey, y'all, let me know. At the beginning of this program, of that one that I had of the minister, is kind of low in the beginning and it came up. So let me know if you were able to hear him a little better towards the end. Thank you for letting me know, Brother Tyrone. Shaniqua Muhammad, thank you for your time, Dr. Keely. May Allah bless you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you as well. Carlos Hodges, thank you for coming in. Donna Marie, the volume is low. Okay. Fitzroy Muhammad, brother, the minister said that America would not solve this coronavirus issue. Now it's mutated to such a degree. My question is, have you heard that it is affecting the sperm of the male sexually? Yes, I have. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Ella Dunstan, thank you for coming in. Damon X Johnson, Michelle Muhammad, Deborah Muhammad, thank you. Cherie Muhammad, Sister Micah, thank you for reminding me. Thank you. Thank you for Sister Micah for saying to people. Tyrone Muhammad, remember, family, no promoting personal products or services on the show as per Dr. Keely. My brother Tyrone, thank you for reminding me. Yes, that's not to me. I would never go and do that on somebody else's show. So I definitely don't expect somebody to come on my show. And I hope that's not beyond people understanding. If you have something that you want to personally share, find your way of doing that. But it really had me hot the other day when the people were coming on my show talking about somebody else's product. So I appreciate you all that had my back. And I also appreciate them if it was a true mistake. But if you were really trying to come and start some problems, I don't think I'm the right person for you to start no problems with. I hope everybody understand it. I mean, we can't tolerate this type of crap these days. Roger Barrington, thank you for coming in. Tyrone Muhammad, it was clear. Okay. The stream was frozen at first. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for letting me know, but I'm going to keep moving on in the show. Okay. And then we got a special guest coming up at the end. So y'all stay tuned. All right. Next part, we're going to watch get another part of the minister's lecture again. And I think as I move forward, you all are going to really understand what I'm about to present. Okay. So check this out.
No
Oh,
one.
wait a minute. Oh, wait. Gotta share it.
In this drama, from China to Iran to Italy to every country in the world whose people have been lost to this virus, there's no reason for us not to see them in the same light. They are martyrs. You may ask, how do they become martyrs? Allah says in the Quran, the ink of a scholar's pen is more valuable in the sight of Allah than the blood of a martyr. Because the scholar can write words of wisdom to make the devil smaller and smaller. But nothing is more powerful than when you offer your life to God in his cause. And so I see my brother as a martyr. I see all of those who have died in this corona violence to us as martyrs, be they men, women, or children, be they white or black, and colors in between, be they Jews, Christians, Muslims, agnostics, be they gay, be they straight, whatever you're doing with your life, now that death has claimed you with this virus, your life and your death has been raised, and you are considered martyrs by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I did not know that Prophet Muhammad had said that when people die in a plague, they are martyrs. When they die in fire, they're martyrs. When a woman dies giving birth to new life, she's a martyr. So I ask myself,
So again, brothers and sisters, there are a couple of things in there that I wanted to draw out, and that is most of us have heard over the last couple of weeks, and I would say probably, the last couple of weeks since July 4th, actually. Ice Cube, Allen Iverson, Nick Cannon, Steven Jackson, many people, right? There are more than that. Those are the ones that come to my mind right now, are being attacked because they either supported the minister's speech or they made comments about the Jewish people. But what did the minister just say that had anti anybody? He's talking about people that are the victims of a coronavirus. He didn't say virus that time. He said coronaviolence, right? Because that's what it is. It was an idea of Gates and Fauci and these other people to murder people, but Allah has taken this over. But he mentioned all different religions. He mentioned all races. He mentioned the LGBTQ community. So how are people saying that he's a hater when he's saying that all these people, if they died during this coronavirus, their life would be raised? So, that's just a statement to basically defend the minister, which we do as members of the Nation of Islam. We're not going to let people talk about our man and not defend him. So I'm sure some people may say, well, this is a health show. What does it have to do with it? It has everything to do with it. Because unless we get our minds in a place where we can understand where the truth is coming from and where the lies are coming from, then anything else that I say, anything else that Brother Akili says is worthless unless it's put in the proper context. Today, what God says is more important than what I say as a physician, because what God says is more important than what I learned in medical school. We'll get to that in more in just a minute. So let's check this next part out because I want to get into a few other things, okay? Make sure I got the right thing up.
I want to tell you right up front, you will not conquer this virus because it didn't come from Wuhan. It did not come from Fort Detrick in Maryland. Because if you had made it, you would know how to handle what you made. But you don't know this virus. It's new, it's different. It mutates and goes in different directions with a different strain of itself. You're running, trying to get a vaccine, like you're really interested in saving the world from this virus. I'll get to your vaccine in a minute.
So again, I played that for a very specific reason, right? Because we are listening to people come on the news every day. I can't say I'm listening. When I get my news, I go and I read things so I can, when I get to the point where I see this trash, I just move on to something else. But I'm saying this for a reason, brothers and sisters, because I am, of course, seeing people who are infected with this virus. I'm also seeing people who are not, but are worried about it. And the thing that is concerning me is that sometimes I'm on the phone with people and I can hear the news in the background. Sometimes I can go visit people and they have CNN or they have Fox or they have ABC, NBC, whatever. That information is inundating you with a mind state that is so confusing, it's ridiculous. And so that's why I wanted to play that part, because they have a desire to murder millions, billions of people on the planet Earth, but they've lost control. And we're going to show that in a minute when we look at these statistics. I hope you all remember those that continue to come back. Remember, a couple of shows ago, I went through the statistics and I showed what our percentage of not only getting it where you live, but also the percentages of people that are overcoming it and going back to a normal life. And I'm going to discuss the relativity of that, because some people that are getting affected do have some long-term consequences. But in general, the majority of people that are getting this virus are having mild symptoms and they're returning to normal. And I don't know if all of you have seen. If you haven't, it's on my Facebook and my YouTube channel. But I know a brother who eats one meal every 3 days. So yeah, he eats one meal. Like if he was eating today on Tuesday, he's not going to eat tomorrow. He's not going to eat Thursday. He's going to eat on Friday. And not too long ago, his wife started doing the same thing. So he and his wife are both eating one meal every 3 days. Well, they literally let a man move into their home with them. He was homeless. He was going through some things. They gave him a chance to stay in their house for a while. He and his wife got infected. Well, the dude got infected and didn't tell him. So he was still coming in and out of the house, putting them and their family at risk. He and his wife developed a lack of taste and a lack of smell. And so they went and asked the dude, hey, man, have you been infected? Are you having any problems? And he admitted it. So, of course, they got rid of him out the house. But the fact that they were eating one meal every 3 days, those are the only symptoms that they had. They lost smell. They lost taste for a few days, and then they went back to normal. So what does that tell me as a scientist? That tells me as a scientist that they had to be doing some things very correct And then the fact that they're eating every 3 days, their immune system is very, very strong and at a very high rate of checking everything that's coming in. And so again, I'll tell you all, as I've been saying, you haven't seen the information, the suggestions that I've been making to people on what to do. You haven't seen those change since the first time that I mentioned suggestions about coronavirus, right? And so your brother has confidence because why? I'm eating one meal every 2 days. So today is my eat day. Tomorrow I won't eat, and then I'll eat on Thursday. But the foods that I'm eating are very quality and specific foods as well. And so when we're doing the things that give us the confidence, we are getting that information from where? That's where I'm getting my information. I'm not following anybody out here. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get us to understand, is that there's a reason that there are those of us that don't have confidence, and then there's a reason for those of us that do. So if you wind up getting the virus, or you never get it, or you're planning what's going to happen if something happens, all of those to me are the same. That's the same viewpoint. It's all the same plan. If I'm going to keep from getting it, if I get it and I have a problem, or if something happens where I think something is about to get bad, or whatever case may be, the plan is all the same. It's just different degrees of the plan. And so we're going to get into a little more of that. I hope I'm making sense. So let's get into the next. This got 2 more sections, and then we're going to get into looking at these specifics, okay?
Brothers and sisters, we have to set an example before the world. I could not allow you to come out without a mask, as though because God has favored us that we are mask free, don't need it. That would make us followers of the foolishness of our government. So don't you take your mask off while you're on this property. Relieve yourself for a minute, take a few deep breaths, put it back on. But you will not talk to each other as though you're in a safe environment because you're in the garden.
So again, brothers and sisters, I wanted to mention that because I was on a show on Saturday evening, and a sister that was on that show asked me a question. She said, Dr. Keeley, what would you suggest that I tell people, because I'm planning on having a program. She lives in California, but she had planned on having some program in public. I can't put what Brother Keeley thinks over what I think the man that is leading me says. That's not the proper way that I will approach these situations. The minister told us to keep on our masks. The minister told us to keep our social distancing. The minister told us to shelter in place. And so that is my suggestion. As much confidence as I have, as many sick people as I have been around over the last few months, as many people that are reaching out to me when they develop problems, Brother Dr. Keeley still has confidence. He still has confidence that he's not going to be sick. But I'm not going to be foolish enough to think that my wisdom, my experience, and my ability is greater than the man that we are listening to, because we're going to see in this next section. Okay, next section, and we're going to get to the specifics of why I'm speaking as I am speaking. I pray that you all are with me and understanding everything that I'm trying to present.
I saw my brother, a big man. He could have twisted those 4 white people if his anger had been stoked and he wanted to fight. They would have to call the National Guard to stop him. That's why you got to come at us like a coward, all 4 of you, like snakes trying to wrap yourself around us so you could give us the treatment that you were taught in Israel? You mayors, you governors, stop your police from going to Israel to learn how to kill better. Your days of killing us without consequence are over. You will pay a heavy, heavy price. Can you imagine somebody from Israel in the Knesset saying that their enemy in America is black youth? You could talk like that? A government talking across the water that our black youth are the real enemy. You know why they're the enemy? Because they're unafraid and they're listening to another voice. The voice that you want to silence, the voice that you want to kill. But Allah says in the Bible, you will come to him and you will bow down at the feet of the anointed of God. And so, George Floyd, when they knocked on the window, over a so-called $20 counterfeit money. You make guns, you make the drugs, you also make the counterfeit dollars. So if there's any counterfeit money in the hood, you put it there as a trap for us. So if my brother used it and you gave him change for it, or you told him, no, when I put this up there, this is counterfeit money. And you called the police. A man carrying a $20 bill. And that morning he made up his mind and told his friend, I'm not going to rise up against him. See how peaceful he was? They had him handcuffed, took him out of his own car, took him over to the side of a wall and sat him down. I looked at the expression in his face. He was saying, why are you doing all of this, man? Come on, man. And then they got him down, and I heard a scream come out from him that I heard before when they were using it on Freddie Gray. This is the technique that they use in Israel. Israel, let me tell you, your day is here now. You don't have to applaud. The God of justice has something for you, Israel. You're troubling some waters, and you won't be there long. If God gets after you, you got a hell of a nerve claiming a part of our. Listen to me good, Israel. You don't deserve that place. You're not kindred to that place. Nobody ran you from that place. So be careful, Israel. I can tell you like Daniel, your kingdom has been weighed in the balance and found wanting. America, you've been weighed. Try to keep yourself out of war. Try to keep yourself away from the judgment of God. You would be wise to put on a mask, because it would be the greatest irony that you would die in office from coronavirus. I'm not wishing that on you. No. But if I did, you'd have to worry. That's right. That's right. So, yes, sir. Florida, are you becoming the epicenter of the coronavirus? I asked God to do that. That I asked him for. While Florida was white all the way around, now your teeth red. I asked.
So just in case anybody is wondering why I did that and showed that, let me show you why. Because we actually have the latest statistics, right? I want to share this first. This is where I get my information on a daily basis. I come to this and I look at what the world statistics are, what the statistics are in different countries. And it's been interesting because over the last, I would say easily month, maybe month and a half, that the United States and Brazil have been 1 and 2 when it comes to the most number of cases, as well as the number of new cases. Now you see right here, United States is not first in new cases. India is 37. They were number 1, I think. But the United States still has 32,000 new cases, and Brazil had +7. But look at the number of total cases. What are the 2 places on this planet Earth where the most slaves were taken from the motherland after being made into slaves in the Caribbean islands? They were taken to Brazil and the United States. So after I finish showing those little spots that we just finished watching, I believe is from God. He can make that type of a statement. And then we have these type of statistics. Let me show you something else. So when he said Florida, I prayed for that. What happened right after that? Let's take a look. So here are just a little news clips about Florida. Coronavirus, Florida deaths, hospitalizations. But look at this right here. Florida's huge and growing COVID-19 outbreak explained. So they go in and start trying to talk about a lot of things, how the coronavirus is compared to all of these things that people are doing, like going to the beach. But these statistics started incrementally going up right after that speech, as well as the number of cases that were in Florida were, I believe, higher than there's ever been in this country since coronavirus has been out. So one more thing I want to show you all, and that is his statements about Israel. You all heard his statements about Israel, right? Israel is teaching our police how to do these tactics that they're using on George Floyd and other people. And so you see there, Israel ranks 3rd in highest daily infections. But look at this. Coronavirus infections all over Israel shot up 500%. And that is since July 4th. So I don't know what else people need as confirmation that the minister is not just some leader. The minister is not just some average person, because I don't know of anybody since January that has given instructions that have proved to be true all the way through this. The minister told us right after Savior's Day to make sure we had food stored in our house, to make sure we had supplies to last a certain amount of time. He's told us to maintain ourselves in our homes. This man is not getting his information from some news source. He's getting his information from a higher source. And that's why I played that clip when he said this information is coming from heaven. Okay, so I am going to check some of your comments, and then we're going to get into what we are going to do to make it through these times. Okay, some of my comments that I've made before, but maybe there's a little bit new something for somebody. Okay, D Kiki, yeah, I agree with you, sister. I don't know why they would come here either, but praise the God we serve if they come and they hear something new, and maybe they'll start thinking something different. Michelle X. Die Young says, will I be speaking about the 14 therapies the minister spoke about? Sister, I will not be speaking about that today because I am in the process of trying to learn what those are and what he meant by that. So when I'm ignorant, I don't speak. So no, I won't be speaking on that this evening. Seti Morini says the fake Jews. Yeah, those imposters, right? I see a whole lot of that's right. That's right. So I appreciate you all. Yes. Cedric Milner, appreciate you coming in. One meal every other day. That's right. Maxine Bland, come on now. Salima Shabazz says, what are you drinking in between? I am water, mostly. I do my sea salt and water on the days in between because like the day that I eat, like today, I usually don't do my workout, but like yesterday, I worked out. It was probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, pretty hot. So I worked out then, and then I drank my sea salt and water to rehydrate. So I'll have coffee. My wife makes a hibiscus tea, and then sometimes I drink the turmeric, ginger, and raw honey tea that I have on my site. So that's what I do on the days that I don't eat. Good question, Lawrence Muhammad. Thank you for coming in, bro. You asked, what is an antigen? Hold on, let me get back to your question. What is an antigen in your blood? That's a good question. Good question. So an antigen is anything that your immune system poses as a threat. So it could be like some people who have problems with their digestive system, and they may be absorbing things out of the digestive system that hasn't been broken down correctly, or sometimes you just absorb toxins from the food. The body looks at that as an antigen, so it's something that the body's going to attack. When it comes to a virus and other infections like that, it's literally, like those of you who watched the little flyer for this program, you see how the coronavirus has got those little projections on the outside. When that virus particle would get in the human body, we would attack it and start breaking it down. And so now the body is going to say that's an antigen. So you literally have certain aspects of the human body's immune system that will rotate around the body. It's kind of like showing, like if somebody were to break into this house right now while I'm doing this, and then I beat the crap out of this person and do whatever I'm going to do. And then I take him around the country and show him to every other mosque. Hey, look, this is a dude that they, and they are, what's the word I'm using? Cloning. They clone these people all over the country. So I'm bringing them around everybody to show you what to look out for. If you see anybody come in the mosque, you see anybody come in your church, see anybody come in your house that look like this, attack them immediately. And so that's what the body does. It will literally take a piece of that coronavirus, take a piece of anything that affects the body and just show it around the body. So the whole body will be aware of what it looks like and how to detect it. So that's a good question, bro. Antigen is something that really boosts the immune system and or triggers the immune system to get to do what it does. Christine Crowder, thank you for coming in. Tyrone Muhammad, thank you, brother. Olivette Hamilton, greetings. Leandria X, thank you for coming in. Wa alaikum salam. Increase in cases in Florida, that's right. Somebody says, I live in Minnesota. See my other brother on here from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota where all this started with that. That's right. You live in Minnesota. Yeah. I keep keeping my eye on the weather because I don't believe it's going to be long before some weather tears Minnesota up because of what they did. And now they're trying to pacify the people, and they know they're not going to really try those people or really put them in jail like they should. Lynn Ali says, he also said people treat him like a lovely song, meaning that people are listening but not hearing and following. Absolutely. And that's the reason why I decided to use the minister's clips on my show tonight, because, you know, I am with this show am a spokesperson. I have to say that. I am held responsible for warning the people as well, right? I mean, most of us, I say most of us, any of us that heard Sister Ava this weekend, she said it's our duty to be a testimony. It's our duty to go out and speak the truth. And so I have to use my platform to the best of my ability from a health perspective. But right now in 2020, as we sit in America in July, we have to say that this is a plague and that the judgment of Allah is on America and the world. And if people, young, middle-aged, and old, don't understand that, then your whole viewpoint about what's going on is wrong. So it doesn't make a difference if you have somebody that gives you the right information and good information for you to stay healthy. If you don't understand that this is a time and God is coming after his people and for them to straighten up their life and become more righteous, you could be healthy as hell, but all of your activity is unrighteous, you're going to die anyway. So, you know, the key is to get yourself right with God first. It don't make a difference what you call him. Don't make a difference whether you go to a church, synagogue, whether you pray at home, you go to a mosque, whatever it is that you do. Start making sure that you're living the life of what's coming out of your mouth, and start treating people the way that we should, treating ourselves the way that we should by looking in the mirror, knowing that you are God first, and then everything else will fall into place. But that's my duty to say that first before I get into the rest of the show. And we're going to talk about what to do about this virus. You got to do that here first. And if we're doing that here, then we got to turn the TV off more. We got to stop listening to this stuff out here. They're driving you crazy because they're talking about madness all day long. That's putting you into a state of fear. We got to get ourselves out of that. Sheree Muhammad says, Brother Keely, you said spring water before, not alkaline. Absolutely, my sister. And there are two shows that you can go and hear me go into specifics, because I don't have time to do that today. I would suggest that anybody that has not heard Optimal Vegetarianism, it's only on my YouTube channel. But Optimal Vegetarian, I've gone and I've listened a few times, and I think that's a pretty complete presentation on how you should try to formulate your eating habits. And I discuss water in there. I also discuss water in my post about alkaline body, where I talk about, you know, this whole thing about alkalinity and all that. So if you get a chance, please check those out. What is the mixture for the sea salt water? That would depend on the size of the person. But for a person my size, I do 1 teaspoon in a regular 16-ounce bottle of water. But it would depend on your size. I couldn't say that might be too much for you if you're smaller than me. Okay. George Allen and Victor Seals, assalamu alaikum to you, brothers. I appreciate you coming in. Leroy Muhammad says, I love organic hibiscus tea with ginger root and that delicious raw honey that you introduced us to. Wow, praise be to Allah. My wife puts organic hibiscus. I believe she puts nutmeg and cinnamon in the one she makes. Man, it's so good. Or if any man try to come and take that woman from me, you're going to have a big problem on your hands. Lawrence, thank you, brother, for the good question. Mina Crystal Muhammad, do you think that people should get the antibody test? Okay, I'm going to get to all of that in a minute. Let me just write this down, testing, so I can cover that testing, okay? James Williams, is it cool to put a little raw honey in your sea salt water? Absolutely. I tell people all the time, to me, it's more important to get it down than it is to try to fight with it, right? I can't stand the taste of sea salt water. I don't like the taste of sea salt when I put it in my hand and put it in my mouth and follow over the water. But I know how good it is in the body, so I just force myself to do it. But I tell people, if you have a small child or if you want to add your sea salt to your coffee or your tea, like the hibiscus tea that we were just talking about, or immune boosting tea, if you want to put your sea salt in there because it's just too difficult for you to get down just in your water, do what it takes to get your sea salt in you. But it's necessary to get that into you especially when you're in hot environments or a couple of times a week. So yes, I don't have a problem with that at all, my brother. Danny Muhammad, appreciate you coming in. You say, why would someone get tested for COVID-19? Yeah, I'm going to get to all that in a minute. I wrote my notes down so I can get it. I'm just going to get to these comments and then we're going to get into all of those things. Okay. Rhea Darcell McCauley says, is anyone experiencing interruption? Michigan is experiencing a series of storms. Yeah, please let us know. And Rhea Darcel McCauley, I thank you for checking on that to see if it was something we could do about it. What are the 14 therapies the minister spoke about? Yeah, I don't have that information yet. 35 Esmond Street LLC. That is on my YouTube and my Instagram and my Facebook channel. It's actually a immune boosting tea. And no, it's not tea leaves. I actually go through the whole process of how to make it. It's not tea leaves. It's the actual turmeric root and the ginger root and raw honey. Okay, so check that out. It'll give you everything on there. Leroy says, yes, and you have a great vegetarian taco recipe that I can't wait to try. Oh, you must be talking about the one that I did on my YouTube channel. Yes, ma'am. That was actually some food that I had left over. My wife had already left town, and I had to make a little something happen. So, yeah, I came up with a little something. I appreciate that, sister. Tyrone Muhammad says, Trump used plague and the therapy, meaning therapies in his press conference today. He indicated that therapies are forthcoming to treat the virus. Wonder where he got that. Yeah, I don't think it's happenstance that the minister told him to put on a mask, and the next time we saw him, he had on a mask. And of course, it sounds like his verbiage is following in line with the minister. And we know, I think the last I heard that the minister on all the different accounts where his July 4th criterion message was being presented, I think it was up to, the last I got a tally, was somewhere around 6 or 7 million. But we know that the mass media doesn't want to pose anything. So these people that saw it are from Revolt TV, from NOI.org, and then those of us who are spreading it. So he definitely has an impact. And we know those people who are the ones that make decisions in this world, they definitely heard what he said. Yeah, you have to check that out, Sister Roya, because it's definitely, I'm addicted to it. I'm like a crackhead when it comes to my wife's tea. Once a day with the sea salt? Well, it depends. Like, for instance, I can't remember what day it was, but one day, not too distant in the last few days, I was fasting. I came off of my fast on Sunday. But I woke up one morning, drank some water, had a cup of coffee, and the coffee was so good, I drank 2 cups. And then I went outside and I did some work in the yard. It was kind of hot, and I became pretty dehydrated. So I came back in the house. I drank my sea salt and water, hydrated. When I went to take my shower and went to the bathroom, my urine was real dark when I was in the shower. And then right after the shower, I was bending down to do something, and I could tell that I was getting a little lightheaded. So I went and I hydrated again, because the first time that I hydrated, and to that time when I bent down, it was probably about an hour and a half, and I didn't have enough fluid on my body. So I had to go hydrate again. That coffee really dehydrated me. So that's what I'm saying. We have to do these things, but we also have to experiment to make sure we know when our body has the right amount and when we don't. I'm not a big coffee drinker. I don't drink coffee on any regular basis. So when I drink coffee, I have a problem sleeping at night, and I also get really drained of my fluid. So it's something that we have to kind of work with in hot environments. People who drink coffee, people who do other things like coffee and caffeinated teas, those things will drain a lot of water from your body. So you have to make sure that you hydrate as often as you need to get it right. Okay. I also apologize. My wife just sent me a notice. My light is a little bit low. And I know somebody's going to get on me about that because I didn't have my extra batteries, but I apologize for it being a little dark. But I hope y'all still getting the message. But Danny, can the immune boost be taken as a preventative, and if diagnosed with COVID? Absolutely. I'm going to get in that in just a few minutes. I got my bottle right here so I can show you all. And we're going to talk about that as one of the preventive and treatment measures of this plague that we're dealing with. Lynn Oil says, I understand that the nose swab test smells like chlorine. Can you speak to that? Yes. Himalayan pink, correct. Some may buy that white salt. No, I don't do Himalayan pink salt. I do the Celtic sea salt because of the mineral amount in there. Again, I mentioned that in my program on optimal vegetarianism, but I don't have a problem with people using Himalayan pink salt. Dora Muhammad, what are your thoughts on elderberry? Elderberry is a good thing to bring you nutrition, but What I have sitting right over there when I finish with this program are some blackberries, some blueberries. Well, I don't have blueberries. I have blackberries over there, but the same thing that's in elderberry is in a blackberry, a blueberry, a cherry, and a strawberry. So, you know, I always am going to go with how to eat to live. I'm always going to talk about the foods where we can get the things that we need. I'm not into sending people to get a whole bunch of products. Okay. So I don't down elderberry, but I would rather put food over elderberry, because my understanding is you can't eat an elderberry. It's more like kind of a, what, let me say, the berry that they use for elderberry is not something that people typically eat. They use it more for making products. Can you get COVID-19 more than once? Yes, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm not sure what you mean, Sister Cherie. You said I'd like to know as well. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Shiloh Farms a good source of organic food. Shiloh Farms. Be Coop Boy. I'm not sure. Shiloh Farms. I know I've heard of that, but I'm not sure why I'm not bringing it up. Okay, yeah. So if you've been super hydrated, sister, yeah, you got to get on some of that sea salt and put that water in there, okay? What do you think about Morton sea salt? I don't trust Morton's, to be honest with you, because Morton sea salt, I tried that once and it just doesn't have the same taste. It doesn't even taste like it's really loaded with the good stuff. We know that Morton is the biggest, I should say the biggest. I know it's one of the biggest companies, but I don't really trust a lot of these big companies, so I don't really have a lot of confidence in Morton's. All right. So getting specifically to this coronavirus, I wanted to speak briefly on a friend of mine, who, of course, I'm not going to say his name, but and actually it's more than one. It's about 2 or 3 of them, people that are literally fighting this coronavirus. And they were talking about the way that this thing messes with their mind. And I also have a friend of mine who has not gotten the virus, but he says it to me all the time too. I mean, you're doing something around your house and you start coughing, and the first thing you think is, oh, damn, did I get it? You wake up in the morning and you got to go to the bathroom and you got diarrhea. Oh, did I get it? You, get a little short of breath for whatever reason, or you sneeze or whatever. We're being inundated with this thing. And I will go back and say something to you all. There's still, in the United States, there still have been more people this year that have died from a heart attack than from this virus. There still are people in this country that have died because of cancer that have of this virus. And so again, the only reason why our minds are so inundated with this virus is because it's being pushed and plugged into our mind on a regular basis. And that's why I'm saying it is a bad idea, personally, to spend a lot of time on television. It's a bad idea for you to go to any of your regular news sources to get your news. You should go to some place that you, after we've been dealing with this situation for 5 months now, we should have some places that are trustworthy, that we have found to be trustworthy over this time frame, where we can go and get the information that's necessary. And then some of you have been watching news enough to be able to know, okay, this is similar to what was on the news. This is something different. This is where I've been able to find information that I can rely on, because we've been going through this enough. At least I know where I get my confidence from. It's not from the typical news places. So my biggest suggestion for prevention of this problem, as well as the treatment of this problem, is to keep your mind focused on things that make some sense. So what am I talking about? I'm just going to go back real quick and show this. Oh, damn, I took it down. Anyway, I just tell you all, you can do it yourself. But go to the Worldometer, right? That's the thing that I first put up that showed America, Brazil, and all the other countries and how many people have been infected with the virus, and just pull up the United States. Or just go down a little bit and it'll show all the statistics for the world. Look at how many people have been infected, how many people have recovered. Look at how many people have been infected and how many people have died. The percentage is so low, you should have great confidence that even if you get infected with it, you're going to make it. Because the majority of people on the planet getting coronavirus, getting infected with it, or getting over it with mild disease. So what does that tell you? It tells you that what Brother Akili has been telling you from the first time that I spoke on this thing is the truth. Because it doesn't make a difference if we go back to HIV, if we go to Ebola, if we go to swine flu, the avian flu, the bird flu, the SARS-1. It doesn't make a difference which one of these man-influenced disease problems that we have on the earth right now. The people with the best immune systems are the ones that overcame these problems in the most successful way. And so as long as I have been teaching about how to eat to live, as long as I've been doing the Ultimate Wellness Transformation Tuesday, the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday, everybody that's a regular, everybody that has heard my voice has a body of knowledge that they could be in a place where they're confident that they're not going to get it if you're putting in the work. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying that the information is here. Our ability to be confident is here. But what are you doing with your time? Where is your focus? If your focus is trying to keep up with the news, I'm sorry. It's not news. You're being led in propaganda. Because if it was news, they would be putting things in the category. If it was news, they would be telling you the number one killer in America is this. You better watch out for the hamburger you stuff it in your mouth while you're watching the show. The second killer in the world is cancer. You better read the doggone label of that crap you put in your mouth right now. And then they would go on and on and on. And then they would get down to coronavirus. That's news, but that's not what you're getting. You keep putting on a channel that's making you think what you think is news, and it's not even close. And I'm only talking about the health field, right? So as we've been paying attention to all this coronavirus, I wonder how many laws have been passed that are against us. Those are the type of things that are happening when they're keeping us inundated in this reality of something that's not trying to say Corona is not a virus. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not saying that it is a plague of biblical proportions. I'm not trying to disagree with that either. But if we put it in proper context, you wouldn't be so inundated with it that you would be thinking it's going to kill you, because you'd be doing something every day to make sure that it's not going to kill you. That's what my plan is. Brother Keeley, what you going to do tomorrow to make sure that you're not killed by the coronavirus? I'm going to be fasting all day tomorrow. I'm going to be drinking my water. I'm going to go exercise when it's 90 degrees tomorrow so I can sweat. I'm not going to have to go sit in a sauna. I'm going to sweat out there when I'm running and doing my push-ups and running my stairs and doing my pull-ups and my chin-ups. Well, that's a lie. I'm not doing pull-ups right now because I injured my shoulder, but y'all understand my point. We got to have a plan. And if you have a plan, then you'll be less likely to give in to what people are trying to tell you as a propaganda. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Somebody says I'm driving myself crazy. Yeah, paranoia. That's what it is. The television is feeding you paranoia. Because like I said, if they were into giving you news, they would put things in a category where they would be what would be necessary. And here's the other thing that I have to tell you all. I have had literally from around the country, at least 4 or 5 people that have had a viral illness, and a pretty severe viral illness, got tested for the coronavirus more than once, and it came up negative. Some people might say, oh, what was that? There's still all these other viruses that happen every other year, that happened last year, 5 years, 10 years, the same type of things that were causing people to be sick. All these other years, they're still going around too. So again, we got to put things in proper context. And as my sister, Mina Crystal Muhammad says, do not let us find ourselves going crazy, okay? Because we can be driven crazy, but it's because we allow somebody else to narrate our reality. One thing that I do with people, once they trust in me and they get a consult and want me to put a program together, I always tell people, don't let somebody else train your mind for the day. Everybody, I'm sure, has had this experience. You wake up in the morning, favorite song is on. You sing that song all day. You're at work, mind totally somewhere else. Song comes back. You popping your finger, right? At the end of the day, if we wake up in the morning, go to the prayer rug, let God be in the frame of our mind at first, by reading something, meditating on something, putting our mind on some goals or whatever case may be, that's what's going to come back to your mind all day long. So be careful. Don't wake up in the morning and put on the television. Let me find out what's the latest about coronavirus. Maybe that's why you can't get it off of your mind. That's right. Long time ago. I remember years ago when I stopped watching news because of how negative it was. And yes, my sister April, fear is weakening our immune system. That is absolute truth, right? I had a patient that I went to see today, and some of my students were coming to see it. It was a wound debridement, right? So I was taking all the old skin and the scab and all that kind of stuff off of this wound so that not only will it give the person a little more comfort, but, you know, kind of allow the things that we're using as therapies to reabsorb into the skin and do a little better healing. And so what I was going to tell my students, not what I told my students before they came there, don't come with an empty stomach. And I'm sure some of them didn't understand it because I didn't get a chance to explain it to them because time factors and, you know, things were happening. We're kind of moving kind of fast. But the point was that the first time I saw blood as a medical student, and the first time my other brothers and sisters that were in medical school with me saw blood, some of us passed out. The only reason I didn't hit the ground is because I grabbed something. But I had two people in my first surgery fall out on the ground in a surgery. So there's no truth to the fact that doctors have something that they can take seeing blood and the rest of you all can't. No, we had to get used to it as well. The problem is that when a human brain visualizes blood coming out of another person, we automatically get that fight or flight system that jumps in immediately. And so you get this hype system. The body starts using all your sugar to what? To get ready to fight. And that's what makes people pass out because it's so intense. There are different levels of fear, right? But fear of seeing blood coming out of a person in a surgery or some major type of thing can cause people to pass out. So it's something that physicians have to get used to as well. The first time I was in there, I had to hold on to something. I stepped back for a minute, got myself back together, and then went back. And ever since then, I've been able to handle more and more and more because my body is getting used to it. And so, yes, that is just an example of how fear, your mind going into this TV and them talking about how many people were intubated and all the ICUs are full and people are in these refrigerated trucks. Your mind is going crazy. And it's a lot worse than you can even evaluate. It's a lot worse of what is going on inside of your body and how it's draining your immune system and draining your body's defense mechanisms just in general. Just all the organs in your brain working together in a very efficient manner is decreased in fear environments. And so that's why if you study war, there's always an aspect of trying to instill fear in your enemy. It's funny because there was a person that lives in another country that was a patient of mine one time, and they told me about how the American government does other countries. They will literally take their planes when they're fighting wars in other parts of the world that they know those people don't have anywhere near the technology of America, and they will take 5 or 6 or 7 planes like we go to the air show to watch, but they'll fly over areas like 100 feet above the ground, like just a little bit above the height of the highest buildings in those areas, and scare the daylights out of people because those people don't have those type of technologically advanced weapons. And so they fly over them and then fly back and then fly around to put fear in those people. Those people know that they can't handle that type of technology. It's no different than when you're watching the television and the news every day. It's just a different format of fear. And we're in a war right now, y'all. We're in a literal war. Police killing us. We go out and we start trying to fight for equal rights and being treated like human beings, and they decrease our reality to defunding the police. They appease us by writing Black Lives Matter in the damn street like that makes a difference. We're in a war and we're being played and tricked on a regular basis, so we're losing horribly. So, you know, those are the type of things that are affecting us on an everyday basis. You got to do something to balance that. Exercise, eat right, drink, read something positive. Keep your mind focused on things that are goals for yourself, your people, and whatever you can do to help people with your gift. I wouldn't. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time I watched news unless I'm at somebody else's house and they got it on. I'm not going to turn to that channel. Yes. All the statements about the news. Let me see. Are low vitamin D levels related to increased risk of contracting COVID-19? Absolutely. Great question from Kali Flower. And I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. Okay. So yes, that's a very true statement. So is it okay to international travel in your opinion? Salima Shabazz, excellent question. I'm going to get to that as well because I'm going to talk about traveling, but thank you because I mentioned that last time, but I'm going to mention that today. Let's see, traveling. Thank you for the good questions. Seti Morena L says it has shortness. Wait. I had shortness of breath, cough, wheezing, December 29 again, lasted 3 to 4 weeks each time. Allah healed me. Thyme and also ginger, turmeric, lemon tea. Refused to let them stick a tube down my nose. COVID been American. I kick butt both times. Praise be to Allah. Great. Sister Michael, remind you is a blessing. Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. Naima Muhammad, good question. Does having your tonsils removed lower your immune system? Absolutely. Now, don't get this twisted that you can't still have confidence. That's not what I'm saying. But anybody who has had their tonsils taken out, you allow these people to take your immune system out of your throat. That's what they are. Your tonsils are just two large lymph nodes. You got them here, you got here, and you got some up here. So if they go and they take them out your body, they took some of your immune system out. Don't worry about it. The things I'm going to tell you still going to give you the confidence, right? As I said before, if you have had something happen to you where something is taken out of your body, you can't go back and get it put back in. So let's start today and move forward and do the best that you can to have the best of what Allah put in you. They can never take our power away, no matter what they do. All right, that's enough of Trump, y'all. We don't have to ever mention Trump again. I'm not going to talk about the dump. I listened to a radio, Salima Shaba, I listened to a radio show that went around the world to find the oldest people, called them blue people. One common denominator they ate, drank was oregano. I agree. They talk about the blue zones all around the country, but I'm going to be honest with you. All of that stuff that they're putting out there is straight propaganda because those people are nowhere near the oldest people on the planet. But we'll talk about that another time. April Muhammad, fasting is a great healer. Absolutely. In this book, the Honorable Muhammad wrote, fasting is a cure to 90% of our ills. And I believe that 1000%. Robert Muhammad, what are your thoughts about public schools opening in August? Put that down here so I can touch on that before we get out of there. Actually, I just give you the quick question. I ain't promoting nobody doing nothing until the minister says it's okay. So that really is my answer. Shelter in place. If I had children that were school age, they wouldn't be going back to school. Not under my leadership. Anissa Muhammad, walaikum salam, my sister. Gloria Jones Miller, thank you. Sandra Muhammad, my son works at the cemetery and he says that there's hardly any burials, but they claim that thousands are dying from COVID-19. Yeah, there may be a couple of reasons for that, Sister Sandra. One is that they're trying to spread fear that dead bodies with COVID can still spread the disease. Now, that is true with older viruses, but only for a very short period of time because a virus can't live unless it's in a live human body. But, you know, I think there are certain parts of this government that are keeping COVID patients because of that whole mentality thing we just finished talking about instilling fear. Okay. B Scoop Boy said, I just stopped smoking marijuana on Sunday after 3 years. How can I rebuild my lungs after that? B Coop Boy, thank you for that, bro. First of all, I congratulate you for stopping smoking. You've done a wonderful thing. Again, don't worry about what it is that you have done as damage. If you don't mind, tell me your age, because the younger you are, the faster your lungs will heal. And even if you're older, you still have to have confidence that you can redo your lungs. Now, what I will say is go back and check out my program that I did on the lungs, because I went through the whole lung system, and let me know if you have any questions that I need to answer specifically. Okay. Shanique Muhammad says, as soon as you said scraping a wound, my stomach went left. Yes, man. Yes, ma'am. Again, the type of ideology that had to come from somebody that has no care and concern for women, right? Latrice must almost passed out during rotation on a brain surgery. Yeah. That brain stuff is crazy. The brain and the chest are crazy because you got to go to the bone and you got to crack the bone open. And literally, if any of you have ever heard anybody do that, right? That is nothing in comparison when you crack a chest open or use a saw or something to drill or cut the bone of the skull open. It's a horrible sound. I will never forget those days. I need to go get it processed up out of me. A lot of getting cremated, but all of it's so suspect. Yes, ma'am. You will pass out if you see phlegm. Yeah, you would definitely pass out if you saw some of the stuff I've seen. One way would be to get as much fresh air as possible, especially walking in pine woods. Actually, an excellent suggestion. The pine smell is very healing to the body. Yes. Okay, so let me get to some of this and then I'll get back to the questions. I want to cover some things real quickly. The first is good thoughts, right? So I went over that a little bit. The second is masks. You all, look, the reality of a virus is that it cannot live unless it's in something that is living. It is a parasite. And so you are putting on your mask for the reason of protecting yourself from getting a respiratory droplet from another place, a person, from their cough, from their sneeze, from their talking. That is what the mask should be. If you're in the house with other people and you all are around each other all the time, you don't need to. Today, I got in a car with a brother and his two sons. And when they pulled up, they didn't have masks on. Talked for a minute, figured out that, my wife had to go a different direction. They were going the direction I was going. I was going to jump in the car with them. They put on their mask and I put on their mask. Why? Because we both were coming from different environments. I don't know that I have been around somebody where I could infect them. And so we all put on our masks. Let's just do the logical thing. Just think your way through everything. When I'm in public, like yesterday, I was at a grocery store with a couple of days with my wife. We went into the grocery store. I put on my mask. But as soon as I walked out of the grocery store and got back into the parking lot, I took my mask off. Why? Because if I see somebody walking near me, I'm going to go away from them. I'm going to keep my distance away from them so that they won't be able to cough, talk, or sneeze on me. That makes sense? So we got to just think our way through these things and always wear your mask if you're in any environment where you believe that you're at high risk. Don't test this stuff. Don't play like you are in a better shape that you're in. If you know you're not taking care of yourself, you know. If you're doing some good things, you know. And if you're doing the best that you can, you know. So act accordingly, but take care of yourself regardless of what you're doing. It's not worth trying to be macho and get infected with this thing, because even the people that I know that are getting it, it's tough here even more than it is physically tough on their bodies. Okay. Gloves, same situation, y'all. I don't wear gloves. I go into the store. A lot of times before I leave, I'll wash my hands. If I go into my car, I go into my house, I'm going to wash my hands before I do anything inside the house. I'm not going to get myself overly crazy about that because I'm not touching a lot of people. I don't touch a whole lot of things. But if I do touch some things and I think that I've touched too much stuff when I went in the store, wherever I'm going, I'm going to wash my hands to get whatever it is off my hands. But I'm going to do the best I can, not touch my face. But again, in relation to keeping your immune system strong, the only problem with the hands is that you touch something and then you do this. So if the immune system is strong and you decrease doing this, or you wash your hands before you do this, you're decreasing your chances greatly of having any issues with getting the infection. Okay. Social distancing, exceptionally smart to do. I don't care what these people say, how they try to change it. You should try to keep your distance from people. The thing that you can always use as a measurement is think about how many times you've been in a company of people and they're talking and you see spit come. What if somebody, more than likely, that's going to go farther than when they were talking. If somebody sneezing, that's potentially going to go farther than when somebody is talking. So whatever the distance is that you think that makes you comfortable, how far I need to be away from somebody so that they can't cough, spit, or sneeze on me, then do it. Make sure you social distance. I do. I'm not letting anybody that I don't know close to me. And people that I do know, I might come up quick, shake your hand, and then I'm going to step back because we got to be safe. We got to keep ourselves safe in this time. All right, so social distancing is very important. And when you're in public places, shopping, whatever the essential things that you need to do, just keep the same process. Same process, all right? And while I'm on the mask situation, please don't get yourself all hyped up over this madness about a mask and decreasing your energy and putting the CO2. Hey, look, we got to go through what we got to go through in order to make it to the other side. Take your mask with you and wear it when you're in a situation where you think you are potentially could get exposed. When you walk outside, take the mask off. When you walk into your car, when you're in your car, you don't need to wear a mask. It makes no sense to me when I see people driving down the highway, mask on, window down, or mask on, window up. It doesn't make any sense. Unless there's somebody in your car that you haven't been in an environment with, then that's one thing. But if you and those other people have been in the same environment, it doesn't make sense to wear that mask. So take off the mask, get your oxygen, get rid of that CO2, and we can not be concerned about any of that having any long-term effect on us, okay? Now, I wanted to mention getting sick and hospitalization. Brothers and sisters, my suggestion is that you should never desire to get testing. We can't trust the medications of this country because they've never proven to give us any true long-term benefit. You can't trust vaccines in this country. They've never proven to give us any benefit. And you can't trust the tests in this country. Tuskegee is only one program that proved that we can't trust these tests. So don't go out seeking to get yourself tested. But if you're in a situation where you believe you've been exposed, or I had some symptoms, and you have a sick family member, or you have a family member that is immunocompromised or just doesn't have the ability to do the things to boost themselves like you should, and you want to go get tested to protect them, that makes absolute sense to me. I'm not knocking doing things when we go through a logical reasoning of why we're going to do this. But just to think, I just want to get tested so I can know. I don't think that's a good idea. Because you didn't do that before the coronavirus. You didn't go out, I don't have any symptoms. I think I'm going to go get tested to see if I had a flu. No, you know when you had a flu when you got certain symptoms. And if you saw somebody with the symptoms of the flu, you try to stay away from them because you don't want to get it. Same logic we need to use now. Nothing else. Don't make these people think that it's any worse, okay? Because the death toll of coronavirus at this point where we stand right now is not greater than the flu. Last year, the year before, any other last 10 years, the flu has killed a higher percentage of people than the coronavirus. So we don't have to get ourselves inundated with all this negativity and fear. Okay. So when it comes to getting sick, the biggest thing I think is to keep your mind focused on what I just said. 96 to 97% of the people in the world are overcoming this virus in mild symptoms and returning to normal. There's a small percentage of people that are having kidney problems, that are having liver problems, that are having problems with their sperm, that are having problems with their lungs. Some are even having problems with their brain because this virus is not normal. This virus has been infiltrated with an evil reality, and it's affecting the A system that I've talked about in previous shows. And we're learning more and more and more. We didn't know a lot of information about the A system being a part of so many different organ systems, but it's in doggone near every organ in the human body. And so that's why it causes sperm problems and can cause problems with your GI system and your liver and just about every organ in the body, because the system of the A system is in a lot more places than we ever thought they were. And so that's why you can have some of these long-term problems. But again, the things that we need to do to boost our immune system will get us back healthy quickly and get us back to a point where none of that can happen because we've murdered the virus and removed it out of our body. Okay. Let me get to a couple of comments and then I will finish. And then we got a guest. I appreciate his patience and coming in and waiting after I finish all this stuff. And then we will close out. Okay. Where were we? A lot of comments, y'all. Okay, here we go. I think that's where we were. Toys of distraction. Tammy Cross Bellamy. I'm not sure what that means. Let me know. Drew Janine says suctioning phlegm is the worst. I can do it. You could do blood, but not the phlegm. I agree with that one. Yeah, phlegm is some nasty stuff. It smells too. Tammy Cross Bellamy. What new toys do you have for me? I don't know what y'all talking about. Let me know. I walk almost every day, but I haven't in the past 2 days because it's been 95 hazy hot degrees here. Would you recommend I do so anyway? Yeah, I mean, if it's 95 degrees where you are, well, I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow. It rained today. Anytime it rains, the air is somewhat cleaner than it was before it rained. So tomorrow, probably around 2 or 3 o'clock when it's 90 something degrees, I put on my sweats, I put on my t-shirt, I go out and I start running, get all sweaty. That's like being in my sauna. So yeah, I would say work out when it's hot because you're benefiting the body with the physical exercise. You're benefiting the body with the sweating. And then you're also realigning the hormonal system. It helps with all of the negative energy that's going on around. It helps with your anxiety. All those things will be improved with a good exercise routine. And when you do it in that heat, I don't think there's anything that can compare. Tyrone Muhammad said, can you speak to those who are immunosuppressive medications in regards to contracting COVID-19 on those meds due to organ transplant? Yes, I would say, Brother Tyrone, I would give you the same advice I would give to a pregnant woman. A person who is on immunosuppressive medication because of an organ transplant, I would live like every person that you come in contact with potentially has this virus and can kill you. Because it's that serious when a person is on immunosuppressive medications. So, you know, I mean, my reality would be connection and interaction with people only on a need basis. So if I need you to be in my surrounding, then that's it. But other than that, I would have nobody coming to visit me. I wouldn't be going to visit anybody else. I would want the people that live in my house with me and that are interacting with me on a regular basis to have a limited interaction with other people, only that which is necessary. You know, it may even be the best for a person that's in an immunocompromised state not to even do your own shopping. Let somebody else do your shopping for you. You know, you can drive to the place and you hang out in the car while they go inside. You know what I mean? So there's got to be some different activities that you do because a pregnant woman, even though a pregnant woman is not immunocompromised and the pregnant woman doesn't want to have the violence or the stress of an infection while she's producing this baby. That's too serious of a reality her body's going through. But a person who is immunocompromised, I would live my life like every person that comes in viewpoint of my eyes could potentially murder me. And that's the way I would live my life. So let me know if I answered your question. And I'm going to get to, well, I wouldn't suggest that you do anything else other than anybody else to boost the immune system and make the immune system strong. But that would be how I would interact with the public. Victor says, should children turmeric lemon drink as well? Yeah, I mean, the turmeric ginger drink can't hurt anybody. Children, adults, nobody. It can't hurt you. It can only do good for you. So I don't think anybody should not do it. How do I feel about those foot soak detoxes where the water starts out clear and then ends very dark? I've seen it. Do I believe it's getting some toxins out of the body? Yeah, but you know, I don't promote it because, you know, like I just finished talking about, and again, I'm not knocking if people do it. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. But what I know, like I told you, I just came off of a 10-day fast on Sunday. And the reality is that when I go on a fast, I can literally see my skin clearing over the days. I can feel a crispness. I can feel that I need less sleep. I can feel more alertness. There are a lot of things that you just realize is happening in your body. And one of the things that I notice as I fast is that sometimes my smell, like my underarm smell and odor, like you go out and you work out and you're in the sun for a long period of time, sometimes my odor gets better over those days, and sometimes my odor gets bad. So I think when it comes to detoxifying, we have to rely on the organs of the body that are made to detoxify, right? The spleen is one, the liver is the major one, our skin is a large part of detoxifying, and our kidney is more of a secondary organ of detoxification because the liver usually breaks stuff down and sends it to the kidney to get rid of. But the point that I'm getting to is that although the skin is a place where we get rid of things, I'm not necessarily sure if taking toxins out that way, it's definitely not bad. It's just not the most optimal way to me. So again, I'm not knocking it, but I would rather go out, work out, finish with all that wetness in my socks, hang them up, smell them a couple of days later. They don't smell very good. So that's just the way I do it. Okay. So I'm not trying to tell anybody that what they're doing is wrong when they do that, but I just don't concentrate on telling other people to do that. Can deep breathing exercises help with the immune system? Absolutely. Anytime you increase the amount of oxygen, and most of the time, the way most of us, like the way you all see me sitting, like right this minute, I'm sitting up straight, right? But if somebody were to be in here and watch me all day, it might be a little while longer. I'm sitting down like this, leaning over doing this, or just not having my posture correct. So when my body is in this position right now, there are sections of my lungs that are compressed. But when I sit up like this and I do the right type of breathing, I'm opening up all my lungs. I'm getting more oxygen in my system, and I'm getting oxygen in at a more efficient rate. And so that's what we want to do. And that's what a lot of those breathing exercises do. They work on your posture. They increase the oxygen. And so all of that will always boost the system and give it another level of improvement. Okay, so excellent question. Damon Johnson says, we went from surface touching contagion to airborne transmittable. Do you think surfaces in public places still pose a risk? Yeah, but I mean, the risk is very low, bro. I mean, if somebody were to cough and spit a big glob of phlegm, like some of the people we're talking about on here, ain't nobody going to touch that. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody's coughing or sneezing and there's something on the table and you can't even see the spit glob, then the number of plasmids that you can get in your body are going to be low versus a person that would spit or cough and you see a big old wad of spit on there. There could potentially be hundreds of thousands or millions of viral plasmids in that. And so, yes, it is potential that it could still be there. But if you are taking care of yourself and doing some of the things that I'm talking about, you really decrease the possibility of it really being something that could severely harm you. And let me know if I answered that question. It's called Murder Porn. Dr. Gary Senegal, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you coming in. Inhaling pine oil always knocks out my cold. Yeah, that's some powerful stuff. Your mask causes an asthma attack. What is an alternative to wearing a mask? Stay away from people. Make sure you social distance and keep yourself away. So, yeah, Cheryl X, you're the type of person that if you have those type of attacks when you wear a mask, then you might be the type of person that may have to do home shopping for your groceries and let one of these. If it's reasonable and you can put it into your budget, I would have one of these people deliver your stuff to your house and stay away from these stores, stay away from congregating around other people. It's too dangerous because, as I said in the lung show, those of you who have autoimmune disorder, sarcoidosis, lupus, other things like that, where your lungs are in bad shape, or you have asthma and you take a lot of steroids and other things like that for your lungs, you are not in a place where you need to be around people that are coughing, sneezing, or potentially spreading this disease. And I'm telling you, the minister said that it's going to get worse. And so we really don't need to be around the public a lot when you have those type of problems. Okay. Good question. Enrico X, I make my own hand sanitizer when in street. I'm not sure what you said it in, but that's good. You're making your own stuff. Drew Janine said, if respiratory compromise, asthma, COPD, cystic fibrosis is worth going on Amazon and spending $10 on a symptom spirometer. That's actually a very good point. Yes. A spirometer is where you measure how you breathe, right? And that's something that when I have people with COPD and asthma and other respiratory problems, that's one of the things that I have them live by, because that's how you determine what your day is going to be like. A person who has a lot of lung problems, like my sister Drew Janine is talking about, you have to check the weather every day to see what the what the air quality is going to be, because you going outside with lung problems and then with bad air like there's in a lot of cities, and especially in Houston and Southern California, and there's this infection potential, that's a setup for a pretty bad reality. So thank you for that wonderful suggestion. That was a beautiful point that I missed. That's why we're a team, right? Oh man, sometimes these things go by so quick. I'm sorry, y'all. By the way, while I'm doing this, everybody share the show, please. Tell somebody about it. Y'all remember how I started it off? I don't think anybody can get any better information anywhere than here. So send them out. Okay. Tell people about it, please. Your job is testing employees every 2 weeks. Yeah. And that was going to be the next part of what I was going to get into. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, the only thing that I can tell you about a hospital until I am part of producing one on my own is that when you are sick enough to go to a hospital, you are in an environment where you're not going to have any control. I have had quite a few people from all over the country reach out to me within the last month or so, and they are having to experience these hospital stays by themselves because part of the reality I understand, and the other part of the reality is I think it's pretty asinine. But at the end of the day, I can't knock somebody for doing things in the way that they understand. The whole medical industry is set up in a certain mind frame. We know what that mind frame is. It's not necessarily our best, but when a person is in that system, they understand, or what they think they understand, but they have believed the propaganda of that system, but they believe it with all their heart. You're not going to change that system. So that's why, to me, a program like this is so important, because you can't afford to wind up being sick enough where you need to go to the hospital. If you're sick enough to take care of yourself at home, we got to pray that that's as bad as it's going to get, because if you have to go to a hospital, you're not going to be in control. You're not going to be able to keep yourself in control up until what you can do, right? You should have somebody bringing your food, because you shouldn't eat hospital food. You can deny certain medications. You can have your own ideology, but understand that when you start going against what those people suggest, they're going to pose you as an enemy. And I've had a lot of experiences where they do just that, start making you feel like something is wrong with you because you have a concern about doing things in your own way. Okay, so let's listen to the things I'm about to say. Let's try to work on doing something every day to keep yourself healthy, so that even if you are infected with this, your immune system is strong enough where it'll be mild disease, you get over it, and then you can move on and get back to being your normal self. Okay. Oh, wow. Loretta Muhammad says we qualified for a state-funded program for home repairs, and now they are saying a COVID test is required before the work can start back up. Yeah. Those have been the reports I've been reading all over the country, is that a lot of these government fundings, a lot of these government programs, a lot of the state programs are going to be tied to either getting tested for COVID or actually having to take the vaccine. And so I would say, as I started in the beginning, I put everything in the perspective of what the man of God said, who I believe the man of God is. So at the end of the day, it's decision time. We have to make decisions. Are we going to go free? Are we going to unite? Are we going to start unifying even with people that we know and get over some of our petty differences and start doing some things together? Or are we going to continue try to need state funding and government funding and try to do all these programs, and then we're going to be stuck in a decision that could potentially be life or death? So yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if you all heard, but when Jay came on my show one day, he talked about the things that I could have done and could be doing to make a lot of money. But I mean, to me, it's better for me to stay independent, build things like I'm building them, make the associations that God is bringing in my life, having support like brothers and sisters like you all. I would rather grow like that than to be the type of person that goes out here and gets all this money, all this funding, all this popularity, but yet nothing that I'm doing is truly effective, and nothing that I'm doing is mine. Nothing do I own. Nothing do I have anything to say about how it is going to be controlled. I can't I never have been that way, and I definitely am not going to do that now for any money. So I think we all have to start thinking like that and start making those type of decisions. And the more we do that, the more God is going to bring us with people that think alike, and the more we're going to build the reality of separation from this system that has never cared about us. But we're going to have to do it here first, and then we're going to have to do it on small scales before it happens on a grand scale. So we got to get to it. And I didn't mean that to knock you, sister, for what you said. I'm just using that as an example. I mean, these people can do whatever the hell they want to. If they want to come and offer you $2 billion and you want to take it, and they can tell you, well, you have to do such for this $2 billion. That's their right, right? And so at the end of the day, we have a decision, the valley of decision. Monica Stewart says, so isn't it best to stay in the house all the time? They haven't been out since the virus started. Now I'm not going to stay in the house, but when I come out, I'm going to make sure that I'm in situations where I'm not, like, even when I lived, I mean, since this whole thing started, I've been in 3 different locations living. But no, I mean, I'm going to find a park. I'm going to work out. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do things outside. I'm going to still try to live life to a degree. But yeah, I mean, you have to protect yourself, but I wouldn't stay in the house all the time. I mean, personally, I go crazy if I had to stay in the house all the time. Black and brown sciences versus white sciences. We do have a choice. That's right. Anissa Mama said, News reported 141,000 COVID-related deaths in the U.S., gave total population as 3.8 million. That's only 3.7 of total population in the U.S. I don't know what that is. The something are devastating, but not as alarming when looking at percentages. Absolutely, my sister. That's exactly what we started the show talking about. When you put things in the proper context, it's much easier to deal with it with a scientific mind and with confidence than when we're looking at things from a perspective of fear, which is what this system is trying to push on us. Loretta says, what if testing is required for certain programs? We qualify for a state. Oh, yeah, sorry, I talked about that. Tammy Cross, when you were talking about Trump and what laws were passed while we have been distracted by COVID media. There's so many of them, sister. I would have to, maybe drop that, or maybe you have to look at it. But I mean, literally, I was looking some stuff up the other day on the type of bills and the type of stuff that has been passed this year, on the type of things that this government now has the ability to do. And one in particular was a law that was, I think the world law was written like 1800s, but it had never been implemented. It had never been, I can't think of the exact word, but there's something that they do to activate a law that has been written years ago, but never became active. And he did that after Greg Floyd got killed. So there's been a lot of stuff like that has happened, and it always does. Every time something like this takes the attention of the people, there's always something going on behind the scenes that these enemies of us always try to do. Would it be better to try and stop taking high blood pressure pills for hypertension? Absolutely, it would, but we'll have to talk about that another time. Doc, you have addressed my question about the meds. I got a phone call that interrupted my viewing of the show for about 5 minutes. Yes, I did address your question, bro. If you're talking about how you should deal with the immunocompromised, yes, so check that out, please. Is it safe to keep dental appointments during COVID-19? Yeah, I would think keeping a dental appointment is safe as long as everything they're doing is safe and everything that you're going to do is to protect yourself. Absolutely. Thank you for all your info and sound advice. During Ramadan, became ill with symptoms and minister's prayer, Aleem's coronavirus protocol, and even I was healed. I was able to do the last 10 days of Ramadan. Well, that's good, but I got a different product, so we're not going to talk about Dr. Aleem's product. But thank you. How do you feel about healing essential oils in the diffuser? I think that's beautiful, but I think it's more powerful when you go outside and get that aromatherapy from the actual trees, but it's definitely a good thing. Damon Jackson, I see people spitting on the ground. Can that be a way to transmit being it can get on your shoes? Absolutely. And I actually read something a while ago that there were these white supremacist organizations that actually said that they were going to try to help spread the coronavirus in the black neighborhoods by doing that kind of stuff. Like some of this stupid stuff you see with these white people licking on stuff and going in the stores and licking on stuff. That's the type of stuff that they were talking about doing, spitting in places, spitting on stuff where people walk a lot. Yeah, all of that is where those globs of spit is where those viruses can live until that dries up or until something kills it. Sharon Crockett, Eunice Johnson, thank you for liking us. Yes, ma'am. When you first start exercising, does your immune system lower and recover? When you first start exercising, usually if you're exercising, in clean environments or cleaner environments, your immune system is being boosted as you exercise. So no, I wouldn't necessarily say that your immune system is lowered unless you're doing exercise in environments that may be toxic or in environments that may have certain things that don't allow you to get good oxygen, things of that nature. So I would say, sister, just, any type of exercise, starting that would be good. Okay. Dang. Went by again. Latanya, appreciate you coming in the show. Okay, here we are. So Lenoel says, since you mentioned spit, it would be safe to always remove shoes before entering at home. Absolutely. And as a Muslim, I mean, we do that, period. I mean, even before this happened, you come into our house, take off your shoes. Why? Because you might be walking around in dog doodle, cat doodle, anything else, bird stuff. I want that all over my house, right? That introduces things that can dirty your house and decrease your immune system. So yeah, we should all have a general regular practice to take your shoes off before you come in your house. And I actually was talking to a couple of my friends not too long ago who have small children. And so when he goes out into the public and he interacts with people, he takes his clothes off before he even comes in the house, puts them in a bag straight to the washroom, go take a shower, change his clothes before he even interact with his children. I think that's important. I mean, I don't have small children now, but if I had small children in this environment, I would do the same thing. Damon X. Johnson says, yes, doctor, you answered my question very well. Thank you, brother. You are officially my physician, but thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Latanya, appreciate you coming in. I think I said that. B Scoop says, great show. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming in. Tony Prados, thank you for the info. This is my first time looking at your post. Got your info from Gary Senegal. Well, thank you, Gary. And I am a senior citizen and was told to get tested regularly. No symptoms. Be careful, my sister. You heard what I said today. I pray. Be careful, because I just have to tell you that in every study that I've ever researched where Black people, brown people, indigenous people were being murdered in these studies, they were using people that looked just like you to do most of the murdering. But the person that was doing the murdering didn't know. They thought they were doing something right because they were being lied to. Don't believe it's not going to be the same in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We're going to look back at this and say, man, do you know that such was happening during that coronavirus thing? We're going to know it. It has happened every single major sickness that's happened. So don't believe that we can trust these people. You can't trust the system, and you can't trust the people who believe in the system because they've been led to think things. I was there. If you go back in my career a few years ago, I believed in giving people vaccines. But as of right now, I'm 1,000% against vaccines. So, you have to take this information. I never want anybody just to listen to me and just become a blind follower. Listen to what I'm saying and to go research. Go start doing some research. And what I would say to everybody who has any doubt about what I say about this medical industry being against Black, brown, and indigenous people, just read one book. And that is Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington. If you read that book, you'll be changed forever when you go to any type of medical facility. How much corona particles would have been in the air for the 9 people to get infected with corona from one person in a restaurant or these outdoor events? Oh, I don't know, sister. I couldn't say that. That would just be guessing. But the weaker your immune system, the less particles it takes to get you infected, the stronger, the more. So, it would be very, very difficult to answer that. I love how God will sit the whole world down and raise the voice of the oppressed. That's right, my brother. Absolutely. Work at the federal prison and numbers are rising like crazy. There's nowhere for them or us to go. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, and the prison has always been, since this whole thing started, was a place for me to have a lot of concern about, because not only do the prisoners not have anywhere to go or nothing to do, but that dichotomy of anger that is the typical reality in the prison system puts a lot of people at risk. Because if one of those, whether it be the prison guard that's angry or the person that's in jail is angry and they decide to do something against the other, I mean, you really put yourself at high risk. So, I mean, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know that's a very dangerous place to be. What would be your recommendation for children returning to physical school environment? I think I answered that earlier. I would not allow my children to go back to school in this time. Now, just for two reasons. Well, let me not say that. The major reason will be because of the fact that children don't know how to protect themselves. Children don't know how not to be interacting with other children. So I wouldn't put my children in that environment. So, it's time for us to start considering and working towards independent schools, but I wouldn't put my children in any school in this day and time. Salima Shabazz says, you are really answering all of our questions. I have to support you now. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I wanted today to be a show where I speak on all the aspects and answer you all's questions because, again, the minister said this is not going to get better. He said it's going to get a lot worse. We see the numbers rising. We are in the second wave. And, I think it's time for us to take a stance. And that stance is get on point and do what it takes to make it through this. What's the info to order your product? About to get to that in just a minute. I want to send pics of my urban gardening I'm starting. You're proud of me. Yeah, praise you to Allah. I concur. Medical excellent work. That's right. Yes. So thank you all for giving me that. I'm going to go ahead and say these last few things and we're going to get off here. Okay. So I'm going to go to the question about, I think I answered the question about testing and everything else about traveling. So, brothers and sisters, just understand that when you get in an airplane, so if you're talking about traveling on an airplane, the air that is being circulated in that airplane is recirculated air. And I know you all know, just like is that I've heard many people over the years that have gone on a flight and then get sick afterwards. It's because if somebody is in the back of the plane coughing, no matter what is going on with them, that's going to get into the events and it's eventually going to get to you. So I would suggest that if a person has to travel, or even if you want to travel, let's say, for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. If I was going to take a trip to the motherland, because if somebody were to come to me right now and say, hey, we got a free trip for you to go to the motherland, I probably would decide to go. But like just now, I just came off of that 7-day fast. What I'll probably do if they say, okay, the trip is going to be in the middle of August. Okay, well, how many days I got? Well, you got 27 days. Okay, well, I'm about to map this out. And I know for 27 days, I'm eating one meal every other day. But probably for the 4 or 5 days before I get on that plane, I'm going to do a 5-day fast. On the day that I get on the plane, I'm going to drink my immune boosting tea. Before I get on that plane, I'm going to take my immune boosting supplement. So let me just let y'all see this close up real quick. What is over here? Yeah, let me let you see this. Because for those of you that are doing any other products, I can't speak on those products. I can only speak on this one. Immune boost. Where's the focus? Come on now. There it is. Can y'all see it? Immune Boost 100. Call it IB 100. All right. I am a distributor. You can reach out to me. And if I was going to get on a flight to go off somewhere else, I would take that for a few days before I get on the flight. Why? Because I want to do everything to make sure that my system is in the best shape as possible. So if you go in this book and he talks about eating one meal every other day, you won't be sick, but every 3 or 4 years, you eat one meal every 3 days, you'll never be sick. He talks about fasting being the cure for 90% of our ills. So what I'm going to do is go on a stringent eating regimen where I'm not going to deviate, eat no bad foods, no chips, no junk food, no white foods, nothing that could decrease the benefit of my body. And then fast for those number of days right before the trip, drink my immune boosting tea, take my supplement. And when I get on that plane, I'm not taking off my mask. So yes, that would be a long trip. And yes, that would be probably too long to keep it on the whole time. But most of the time when I'm sitting in that plane, I would have that mask on because I don't want to breathe in that recirculated air. So if I'm breathing in that mask and I start feeling a little tired or whatever, I might take it off for a little while and breathe for a little bit, but I'm going to put it back on not too long afterwards. And then as soon as I get off of that plane, I'm going to try to find some place to go where there's not a lot of people and sit and breathe for a little while. All right. So those would be the type of decisions that I would make. If you're talking about traveling shorter distance, like somewhere in the United States, I'm going to wear the mask the entire flight. And then again, when I get off, then I'll get my fresh air. But I don't want to breathe recirculating air from other people that I have no idea what their immune status is, what their infective rate is, and whether or not they're in the middle of disease or not. I'm not going to take that risk. Okay. So I hope I answered that traveling question. I answered the question about the 14 therapies of sperm. And so again, here will be the foods that I think it would be very important to eat. I don't believe in products. I don't believe in taking individual vitamins. I don't believe in taking sea moss and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not what I promote. You should know the difference between water and hydration. They are different. Optimal vegetarianism and my alkaline shows go into that. You have to eat vitamin D and vitamin C rich foods. Most of the time, when you eat a vitamin D and a vitamin C rich food, you're already going to get your zinc. You're already going to get your selenium. You're already going to get all of those minor nutrients that you need because they all have to be together. When you bring in a food that gives you vitamin D, you're going to have vitamin D, you're going to have magnesium, you're going to have calcium, you're going to have all the things that work together in the systems in the body. You can't go to a product and find that. You can't take a vitamin D3 tablet that's going to give you all those other things. So I prefer that you all would go to the food. Now, the best source of vitamin D is going to be whole milk from a cow. So, I don't know what to tell a vegan. I don't know where there's a good source of vitamin D other than going to animal products. Vitamin D, best in milk. Vitamin D, you can get some of that in eggs. If you eat cheese, and make sure your egg doesn't have soy, right? So it got to be free range and soy free. If your cheese, your yogurt, and things of that nature are coming from the whole milk, then that's good. And when I say whole milk, I'm talking about milk that is not homogenized and that is only very minimally pasteurized or not pasteurized at all. But you can't find that in the regular grocery stores most of this country. So you have to do your research, okay? Quinine is very good for boosting your immune system. So you got to eat your citrus fruits, your oranges, your grapefruits, your lemons, your limes. Okay. All fruits with seeds are good for you. So if you are interested in boosting your immune system, you should be eating a lot of fruit with seeds. Stay away from those fruits without seeds. All right. You got to put bean soup in your life. And I mean navy bean soup. I don't suggest any other bean. Navy bean soup. Lentils are good sometimes, but daily and on a regular basis should be your navy bean soup to help promote pulling toxins and giving you great nutrition. There is no bean that gives body nutrition like navy beans. Exercise and sunshine. I talked about that before, right? The sunshine has to activate your vitamin D. I do not, all the years I've been studying, I do not agree that vitamin D comes from sunshine. It does not. Vitamin D comes from food, and then the warming rays on your skin activates into the highest activity rate of vitamin D when you feel that warm ray on your skin. So make sure you're getting as much sunshine as you possibly can in a safe way these days. Talked about water and hydration. Sleep and fasting. Sleep is essential to the body being healthy. So people out here say, man, I want to sleep less because I'm on this grind. Okay. Your body cannot be healthy without sleep. Get some rest. I don't think we need to sleep 8, 9, 10 hours like some people do. But on some days, if that's what your body is telling you need, listen to it. The body will tell you when it's time to wake up. Sometimes we don't even need an alarm clock. Your body gets enough rest. The activity of your mind starts to increase. You're going to wake up because now it's time to get busy. That's been my experience. And the good vegetables, right? Again, they're all on my Optimal Vegetarian show, the ones that we should be eating. But you should have a good source and a good amount of vegetables going in your body every day. Why? Because elimination is very important. When you eat that good navy bean soup and you have vegetables in your life, and I will add whole wheat bread, which has a lot of good nutrients and vitamins in it. When you eat those foods and you do those foods well and you get the right source, your elimination is going to be regular. The same number of meals that you eat, that's how many times you should be going to the bathroom every day. And that is what is going to make sure that your system stays boosted, okay? So I think we've had my brother on pause so long. I appreciate his patience, but I want to introduce you all to somebody who actually has had the symptoms, and he's going to give you all the hope that you can make it through. Brother Warren.
Oh, brother.
Man, I didn't know I was going to take that long, my brother, but I really appreciate your patience, bro. I just a lot of questions, a lot of good questions, and I wanted to make sure that the people had a holistic view at this thing, bro. But so let's get right into it, brother. You have a couple of reasons why you were getting tested, because you were going to be moving because of some problems you had with your house in with your mother, correct? So kind of start us off and tell it. Well, actually, tell them a little bit about yourself and then how we got into this whole Corona thing.
Okay, first, assalamu alaikum. Of course, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. That the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the divine reminder, and I mention their names. I greet you, assalamu alaikum. I have questions myself, Dr. Keeley, because I don't know how long I've had the virus or when I contracted it, how this whole thing evolved. I really believe I contracted it back in March, because if you recall, I called you back in March, and I was at the hospital then thinking I was having a heart attack.
Right.
And I was having dizzy spells, and to make a long story short, they kept me overnight. They tested my heart. They took x-rays of my lungs. My heart was strong. I passed every test with flying colors. They had no explanation to why I was having the chest pain, and they released me. But they never tested me while I was at the hospital. And then I went home. I just attributed it to overwork and stress, and I kind of took it easy for a couple of weeks and got some rest and relaxed myself. And then I was okay. And then around June, I started with a cough. And I knew that I was convinced that I developed mold in my house because I had a mold experience the previous year that really gave me a lot of problems with an incessant cough. This seemed like the same thing. And then, so I moved out of the house and moved in with my mother, who's 90 years old. And at the time, I still had no inclination that I may have the virus. And the cough just got worse and worse and worse and worse. It didn't let up. And then one night I got fever, 101 degrees. And then the next night I had 99. So that's when I got the fever, I began to think that, okay, maybe I really do have the virus. And it was for that reason, I didn't have any intention of getting tested, because I figured either I have it or I don't. And if I have it, I don't need anybody to test me to tell me that I have it. I just need to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But it was the uncertainty of living in the house with my 90-year-old mother, and not only my frame of mind, but her frame of mind as well, that prompted me to go and get tested. And that's really why I went and got tested.
Right.
And when I got tested, they said that I had the antibodies, that I had the virus, and that my body had mounted a defense and developed antibodies to it. However, they couldn't tell me when I had the virus. So they also did the cotton swab, and 5 days later, they told me that I had the virus. And, I was like, really? What a surprise. So that's kind of the backstory on how I came to actually take the test and the why of taking the test. And I must say that I kept social distance while I was there. I stayed in the bedroom, even though I got to the point where I was sick as hell. And my mother has since been tested. She hasn't got a call in 2 weeks, but she is still without any symptoms and doing fine. And I moved out about 2 weeks ago into my own townhouse. And so far, everything is good.
Yeah, I remember, man, that first time we had that conversation, I remember you asked me, you said, do you think this has anything to do with the virus? And at that point, I was like, man, I don't think so. I remember we had that conversation. But then when we look back, we say, well, maybe after learning some more, and then after what happened to you the second time, we were like, maybe there was, or maybe that was the first time that you were exposed to it. But so that's one of the reasons why I wanted brother to come on, brothers and sisters, because I know a lot of people keep asking me, can you get it twice? And Brother Warren actually did get it twice. He got it once when we actually look at everything that happened, and of course, like he said, with the test. But then your second time, when you actually called me and we got you the supplement, man, tell us a little bit about how you were feeling, what you were going through, and then what did you see different once you started taking the Immune Boost 100?
Okay. Symptom wise, it got really, 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 really bad. It surprised me. It's like I slipped on a banana peel or something, and just bam! All of a sudden, I was crisis because I had the cough. It had been lingering and lingering and lingering, and I'm still convinced not only a previous exposure, but I'm sure I was exposed to mold and other suboptimal air quality because I was living in a very old house, and I was just waiting on some financial things to happen so I could move. And I think I stayed a little too long, so all of that kind of converged on me. But it got to the point where I literally could not breathe for coughing. And at that point, I knew I was close to dying because I literally could not breathe. And I kind of just persevered and started to weather the storm. But in regards to the supplement, I must say that when I started taking the supplement, I felt a difference like the next day. And I can't really say just what it was. It's hard to put my finger on what I felt. The best words that I could come up with was a sense of well-being.
Yeah.
That got better and better and stronger each day after I took the supplement.
Yeah, I will say, brothers and sisters, that to date, well, let me first say that most of you who know me and have been knowing me for a while, I don't promote a lot of products. I'm promoting this product because of the benefits that I've seen. And to date, since this coronavirus thing has started, I have had people reach out to me that are in high risk situations. I'm talking about ICU nurses, people that work on COVID floors, people that work in parts of the country where COVID numbers were just going crazy, and they were in the midst of working in hospital settings. And everybody that had the product never got sick. Let me not say everybody. Those who reached out to me and got the product in those environments didn't get sick. And I've had 3 people with very similar testimonies like Brother Warren. They can't really point on what exactly it was, but they kind of felt like an improvement in their system and their overall well-being because it's a system that the body works on. And this product, the IB 100 or Immune Boost 100, it works in the natural innate systems of the body, and it's not from an animal like some of these other products out there. This is human. And so it's going to work in your system just the way that your system is made to work. So anything you want to end with, Brother Warren? I apologize for keeping you waiting that long, my brother, but I certainly appreciate having you at the end to let everybody know, because I think this is important. Brother, sister, Brother Warren and I talked, and I really appreciate him coming on because, again, for anybody out there that think you may be susceptible, or you just know that you're not doing enough right things in order to really give yourself that confidence, there's 2 things that I want you to concentrate on. Number 1 is that this product can help prevent. This is part of prevention, and this can help you get over the symptoms. But most importantly, your mind has to continue to be in the place saying that even if I get this, I can overcome it. But you're not going to be able to say that by eating Popeyes and Frenchies and Timmy Chan's if you're down here in Houston, or any other fast food, or a whole bunch of other people's cooked stuff. If you're eating like that on a regular basis, chomping on chips and eating all kind of processed foods, there's not much you're going to be able to do, period, to keep yourself from getting this. But if you're doing the right things and you add these things to it, I think your chances of making it through this are improved.
Could I just, I guess there's some takeaways for where I am now and where I was, because as we talked about, I was really hit with a triple whammy, contracting it and then getting exposed to mold contamination and then contracting it again. So my lungs just took a beating.
Yeah.
One thing was I was able to keep some mental clarity And in my worst moments, I was able to think through things and realize what was absolutely essential for me to survive. And that was breathing and exercise. And I was so weak some nights I just slept on the floor because I couldn't get back in the bed. But I made myself get up and make Salat every time my phone alarm came in because I knew, one, I'm praying to Allah, and two, I'm forcing my body to move and get some oxygen. So no matter how bad I felt, I thought through it. And I said, if I can make Salat, I can survive because I'm going to get some oxygen into my body. And then I watched movie after series, but I would not watch the news. Now, I can tell you all half of Netflix and prime time video. I can tell you half of that lineup. I refuse to watch the news, and I refuse to go to the hospital. I vowed to myself, I'll either come through this or they'll find me in my bedroom dead. I'm not going to. I'm not going to give up control with myself and what I do. I'm not recommending that to
anybody. Hey, that's why he's a lawyer, y'all, not the doctor. No, but I actually understood that because we had that conversation. Yeah, and like I was telling you all earlier, I mean, if you go into the hospital in America in these days and times, it's a great possibility that you have zero rights while you're up in there because it's definitely a place, I believe, where martial law is beginning and has begun in this country. It has started in the hospitals. And it's going to spread from the hospitals into a lot of other places. You can already see it's starting to look like that's happening in the schools. But so thank you, bro. I really appreciate you, man. I think that kind of gives the brothers and sisters that have been on tonight and have stuck with us the whole time. It gives them a sense of holisticness. I can hear from the comments, everybody kind of thinks that we kind of touched on everything, on all the considerations that everybody has had. And
well, Keith, can I make one more brief statement?
Yes, sir.
As you know, you and I have been working for quite some time, talking about things to do in terms of my health. And I must say, over a period of time, I lost 30 pounds. My sugar levels, without medication, were at a good level. My blood pressure was under control. So I'm convinced also that when I slipped on this banana peel, had I not been doing those things that we're taught in how to eat to live and how to exercise and all of those things, I think put me in a position where I was able to survive this. Without that, I don't think I would have made it.
Yeah, and I will say this, brother, you have reached out to me, of course, over the years for a lot of different things when it comes to your health. You've always trusted me. And I think that's important because the one thing that I know from my brother is that, I mean, we all can get busy in life and we all can fall back into some old habits, or we just concentrating on some things. Sometimes we're so focused on it, we kind of put our health on the back burner. All of us have made that mistake. All of us have gotten busy in our life, or just so concentrated on this one reality, or so concentrated on the bag because we got some goal that we're trying to meet, that we kind of put our health on the sideline. But I've always seen Brother Warren come back and do the things that it takes to get things back in check, as he said, to stay off of medications, or even if he did think he needed medication, he got off them pretty quickly. And I think that those are the ways that we build our system. That is the way that an adult has somewhat a reserve, right? Because a small child or a younger child may have a stronger immune system because they haven't been through so much, but also because they haven't been through so much, their systems are not necessarily sometimes able to handle as much as an adult can handle. So, I really think that's a good point, bro. And I'm glad you said that. And again, I'm really glad that you had a chance to say that to everybody. So thank you, brother. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everybody that came and stayed. And last two comments before I get off here. Somebody asked about colloidal silver. Yes, I think colloidal silver is good, but of course, in very small amounts. Colloidal silver works very similar to the immune boost that I was talking about. We do not need large amounts of these things to work well in the body. When it comes to gold and silver, they do very good at boosting the immune system, help killing viruses and other things in the body, but a very small amount. So we don't need a lot. On the outside of the body, it is, as I understand, a good cleaner, but in the inside of the body, we need very little. And then somebody said, what about drinking milk on fasts? We should not be drinking milk on fast because milk is considered a meal, it's considered food. The only thing that I have read in How to Eat to Live and or gotten permission from the minister that can be included in a fast is water, tea, and coffee. Okay. So again, thank you for everybody. And actually somebody mentioned something about a shield. I don't know what that is. So please let me know and I can respond to that later. You all do not have to go to Nature's V to get your immuno boost. Just reach out to me. My information is down there at the bottom. My website is in construction right now. It should be up soon. But if you're interested in the immune boost supplement, you can either email me at theultimatewellnessgroup@gmail.com, or you can send me a text message. I'm very busy these days, y'all, so I can't necessarily always respond to every call. So if you're calling me specifically in reference to the immune boost supplement, send me a text message saying that you're interested in it. Send me your email address, and then I will send you a document that gives you all the information on where to find more information, how to order it, and all that. Okay. So again, that's how you can get it from me. And it's the same product that you can find at Nature's V, but you can get it straight through me if you like. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you spending some of your time with us on Tuesday. I pray that today gave you the news that you can use to make it through this plague so we can come out the other side better. We have work to do. We have to work on our immune systems every day. And that's why I always say that in a day and a time like we live in, it is not easy to have a strong immune system. It's not easy to have good health. We have to work at it hard every day. So make sure you spend time concentrating on your health, listening to my videos, reading whatever you need to read, and doing the things that you need to do to make sure that you have the correct information. All right. Tell some people about the Ultimate Wellness Group, please, and let people know that this is a place that they can trust. This is a place where they can get the best information, the best product, and the best energy to make it your best health. All right. So thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And I pray that you are safe, sound, and of the right mind. Peace.
Peace.